What's going on, everyone? So, Bradley Beal to the Lakers. Now, I have said on several occasions, absolutely not. Stay as far away from Bradley Beal as possible, right? There's just too much with it, right? The no trade clause, the injury history. I do think Bradley Beal is a guy that makes a lot of sense for the Lakers, right? We want, many of us want Zach LaVine and, or Brandon Ingram or any of these guys. Like, I believe, people are looking at Bradley Beal and looking at him and going like, oh, he's trash, he's washed up now. But he's not. Right? We've seen him. He's still a 25-5-5 guy. He just is a redundancy on Phoenix. They already have the same player that plays the same position on the roster in Devin Booker. Bradley Beal was the last thing they needed. If Bradley Beal went to the right team in the right situation, he'd get back. He'd easily be a 25-5-5 guy. Like, he'll get back to what he was in Washington before he got traded to Phoenix. It wasn't that far removed. My issue is again, the no trade clause, the injury history, right? There's just, and what you'd have to give up to go get him, right? Like Zach LaVine, people go, oh, his injury history. Again, simple Google search would prove you're wrong, right? Like there's a lot of the baggage that people like associate with Zach LaVine that just isn't accurate, but it is with Bradley Beal, right? And that's where my problem lies. That's where my dilemma lies. But now that Phoenix has pulled off where they have 3 first-round picks that they could trade and may be willing to attach those 3 to a Bradley Beal, if you're the Lakers, do you jump at that opportunity, right? Just a fun discussion. I just want to make and highlight pros and cons, right, for it. Before I jump into it, me personally, probably not. I'd stay away. Unless, there is literally nothing else you can do. I would stay away. But let's make an argument, have a little fun conversation here. Because I do think that there is a much bigger argument now with those 3 firsts. The thing is that Phoenix probably isn't going to want the assets that the Lakers have. They're probably not going to want a Rui Hachimura and these guys, right? They just, again, you have they need two-way guys. They need, versatile hustle guy. They need Dorian Finney-Smiths. But you can't trade Dorian Finney-Smiths. Now you could maybe trade Jared Vanderbilt, but if you get Bradley Beal, I'd want to keep Jared Vanderbilt, honestly, personally. You could probably, however, get Bradley Beal pretty cheap, right? So, if Miami still doesn't want to trade Jimmy Butler, and Miami's still no, they need to get off of Bradley Beal, but none of these other teams really want to take Bradley Beal. What if you're kind of the team that goes, hey, we'll take Bradley Beal and we'll get the assets, and you find that team that does want, a Rui Hachimura and does want, a Gabe Vincent, or maybe it is multiple trades, maybe it is multiple pieces, things like that, to where now you're kind of leveraging Bradley Beal. You can get some first in the deal. Now you could have 5 or 6 first in the offseason to go and make multiple trades, make multiple moves to fill around Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Bradley Beal, again, is everything this team needs. A real bucket getter that can give you over the top shooting, can score at all 3 levels, play on ball, play off ball, all of those things. Bradley Beal can give you that. Defense is a liability. Obviously, contract and injury history is a problem. But he's also he's 31 years old, right? He won't be 32 till June, till playoff time. So I definitely think it's something that you I think it's something that is at least entertained now, where before the idea is just repulsive, absolutely not. But if you can land 3 firsts in that deal, right, it'd be hard to pass up. Because now you have 5 firsts, and you basically got your big swing trade. Healthy Bradley Beal, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis would be ridiculous with Dorian Finney-Smith, right? You clear off some roster spots. I still don't like Austin Reeves, but now you have, right? Now you'd have Austin Reeves plus 5 firsts right now and more in the offseason. That's enough to go get other pieces or another big piece, right? To get another guy that maybe makes some sense, or in the post-LeBron era. You now have the flexibility to do some things that you couldn't even entertain, right? And, the issue is Bradley Beal still has, if he was a year out from being an expiring, then I think that there would be, again, different conversations. But he still has, because his player option, he's going to opt into, right? He's not going to say no to his player option. So to me, like, you look at it, he's making $50 million this year, $50 million, right? He makes $53 million next year, almost 54, and then $57 million in 2026, 2027. However, that's probably when LeBron's leaving. So, like, you'd have Bradley Beal probably at least 2 more years. That lines up with LeBron and AD, right? So you're kind of like in the timeline. And then when Bradley Beal is an expiring contract, like I said, you could have, at that point, you'd have like 8 firsts and, and all, like, you'd have a almost $60 million expiring contract. We saw we were able to do a Russell Westbrook in $40 million. The Lakers also have the picks to do so and pull off a big swing trade. And a star's like, hey, LeBron's gone, I could go there and be the guy. It's definitely worth it. Like, hey, instead of you taking a bunch of bad contracts, you could take a $60 million expiring contract or $57 million expiring contract. Right? So it still even maintains flexibility. You're locked in the next 2 years. Right? Like, you're stuck the next. But you're kind of that regardless. Right? Like, what else are you going to do? Wait, at some point you need to make the move, you need to make the swing. Right? Like, you're kind of locked in and stuck regardless. So it's like, do you get stuck but have a bunch of assets to trade and just stockpile in assets and picks? And then also it's just like, how do you, the biggest hurdle would be finding the moves to make the trades in order to get those assets. All right? But I don't think, like, it's not impossible, right? Phoenix desperately needs to get off of Bradley Beal. Desperately. I still think Phoenix is going to push hard for Jimmy Butler. The reports came out that they didn't have Jimmy Butler in mind. Like, come on, we all know that they made that move, try to go get Jimmy Butler. Now, that still puts them in a position to do other things. Like, if Jimmy Butler falls through, well, now they have, again, Bradley Beal, they got Yusef Nurkic and 3 firsts to go and make a move. You could even make that, like, would you take Yusef Nurkic if you could get first attached? All right? Like, if you could get a couple firsts attached. That I would consider, right? For a backup role. Like, I don't hate that at all. Like, if you could go and, like, I don't think they'd give you all 3 firsts for Yusef Nurkic, but you might be able to get, could you get like 2 of them? All right, now you have 4 firsts and Yusef, right? I mean, again, he's the same thing. Him as like your primary center, I'm not a fan of, but him as your backup, I think you could do worse, right? Like, what other, there's not like all these insane options. He's making $18.1 million this year, so you could easily trade for him. Rui plus a vet minimum gets you him. And then he's making $19.3 million next season. You'd have his expiring contract in the offseason 5 unprotected firsts. Right? Like, it's a lot. Right? Like, I don't hate that idea either. I'm not going to lie. I'd probably prefer the Bradley Beal and all 3 firsts. And now you have like 6, 7 firsts and like 4 pick swaps, and like, now you have enough to compete with anybody for whatever you need, right? Whenever that time comes that you need it. The problem is like his $50 million, you just have to trade some, because like Rui and Gabe only get you like halfway there. Rui and Gabe get you $28 million, right? So let's say you add in a Jared Vanderbilt, that gets you $38 million, right? Even a Jalen Hood-Schifino and Jalen Hood-Schifino and Christian Wood get you to like $44 million. You'd still need another $6 million, right? And you don't have, like, you need a third team involved. It would just be really complicated. Again, it's not impossible. You could do it. You could make it happen, right? Like, it's just finding the layers to do it. It'd probably have to be some, more likely than not, it'd probably have to be some massive trade where it's like 4 or 5 teams involved, and like everyone's taking, like, this team's taking Gabe, this team's taking Rui, this team's taking this guy, this team's taking this guy, this team's taking this guy. And you just have all these like convoluted parts, and then ultimately it's like, okay, Lakers end up with Bradley Beal and 3 firsts or even like 2 firsts, right? I don't hate it. Again, if you could get 2 of those firsts and get Nurkic, right? Yusuf Nurkic. I don't hate that idea either, right? Like if they're attached to first, even if they attached 1 first, I wouldn't hate the idea of Yusuf Nurkic. If they were like, hey, now give us Rui and whatever, Wood for, I'd rather do like Reddish or Hayes just because you need that $3 million, that extra $1 million and some change is a big difference. If you Lakers pull off another trade, get your backup center. Anthony Davis, I think, masks and protects a lot of what Yusuf Nurkic does, and you get another pick in the deal. Now you have 3 firsts in the offseason. You have 4. That should be enough to go get you a guy like a De'Aaron Fox or something like that in the offseason if he becomes available. Again, just thoughts, just ideas. Just wanted to have fun conversation. So let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel. Whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.